We're going to be talking about some background analysis of what's going on with Iran and Israel and the implications they're going to have on things like our economy, okay? So I appreciate you being here. And we're basically going to start off with an analysis of the Israeli-Iran conflict and where it is right now. And it is not in a good spot. Basically, we're waiting for one of them to blink. And there's people that are hoping that this will, of course, de-escalate or whatever. But so far, the rhetoric has been going, the saber rattling has been going, and everything else. And no one is stepping off the ledge, essentially. So we're going to go through it. I just got done with a crisis report. This is going to be basically a summary of all that. If you want me to not talk and just want to read the news, then go over there, okay? It is youtube.com/@crisisreport. PrepperNow is a conversation, and we're going to analyze and talk about stuff. And I don't know, maybe you should listen because I've gotten a lot of things right. Gotten some stuff wrong, but I've gotten a lot of things pretty much spot on. So right now we are in a little bit of a Mexican standoff, if you want to call it that. Both sides have done a lot of nasty crap over the last 302 days, essentially. You've got, of course, the October 7th thing in 2023. But, of course, if you were to ask all of the different groups about Gaza and Palestine, they would say, well, we are repressed, and it's been many years of degradation and horrible apartheid-like governance, and so we did what we had to do. We were lashing out. Whatever side you fall on is whatever side you fall on. I'm just going to give you kind of where we are right now, okay? So be nice to each other. No one's going to win anything by being a jerk face in the comments. So now we, of course, have had the big reveal of Hamas and Hezbollah and Iranian proxies hitting and trying to hurt and harm Israel. Israel, of course, in their mind, is in an existential fight for their very being. Palestinians would make the same claim, okay? So where we are at this point is in April, there was, of course, you had the hostages and all that, and they wanted to get them back, and Gaza was not great optically for the Israelis. And, things were just kind of moving along. Everybody expected this thing to be wrapped up because, well, in the past, a lot of these conflicts were done in, a matter of days, at most weeks. Well, now here we are coming up on a year, and this seems to be the real deal Holyfield. This is a real conflict between the two. Not that they haven't had them in the past, but there's now we're at a point after the April dust-up, which on April 13th, Iran sent a crapload of missiles and drones at Israel, and they did it in a way to evoke a response, but at the same time, they sent through diplomatic channels that this thing was more for show than anything else. But should things keep going and get nasty, we are going to up the game, okay? So they sent a bunch of drones, and they sent missiles, and they sent cruise missiles, and everything else. To give you an idea, as covered on the crisis report, ballistic missile takes 12 minutes to get to Israel from Iran, whereas a cruise missile takes 2 hours, whereas a drone takes 9 hours. Flight time, okay? So like the hit on Tel Aviv a couple weeks ago, it was a drone. It came from the Mediterranean Sea. It was floating out there, flying around for many hours. Well, ballistics are very different. Israel, of course, has the Iron Dome system and other air defense systems. A lot of them donated to stop all this, and they do a pretty effective job, all things considered. But an overwhelming response from multi-fronts. 7 in all is what they could come from. You could have Yemen, Hezbollah, Syria, Iraq, Iran, of course, Gaza, Jenin, Golan Heights, and anything that can float around the bend on the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, so there's a lot of potential, and Israel, of course, is doing its best, but at this point, Israel and Iran have kind of gotten to a place where you can't really fake it anymore. You can't just chuck a bunch of drones and have them magically get taken out and say, hey, we tried, or like there has to be a response. There's too many angry people that are jihadis that are around, these militants and fighters in the region, and there's a lot of really aggravated people in Israel that are saying we either take care of business now or we're going to get overwhelmed, and there's going to be a unified front to go after us. So at this point, we really are at that area where Israel did their strikes. They did it on Hanye. This is the building that you're looking at. The place with the black tarp over it is where he got hit. There's reports coming out that there were, they might have, hired IRGC agents in May to plant explosives. Others said that, it was a strike, from an anti-tank missile. It came from outside the country. It came from inside the country. All that stuff, whatever you think. The main thing is that this Hanye guy got taken out in Tehran, which is really bad look for the Iranians and made them look like a bunch of bumbling fools. Add on the Shakur guy, who is the Hezbollah dude, big militant there. Iran basically has to do some kind of a response. So we've been waiting with bated breath for this response. One channel put out there, and this is a very trustworthy channel, that 4:42 p.m. Eastern Standard Time would have been an opportune time for Iran to strike Israel. Came and went because that would be 10:42 their time, 4:42 our time. Obviously, we're at 8:49 our time now. The next one, though, was 3:47 in the morning, and so that would be 9:47 Eastern Standard Time. So in about an hour from now is another opportunity for them to hit, and it makes more sense because what they've been saying is this time we're actually going to do something. We tested your systems in April, and that's what it was more about, was just to see how you would respond, where you would respond, what you would use, yada, yada, yada. And now we have a better breakdown makeup of all that, and we're going to figure it out. We're going to, go after you. And so okay, and people have said this is going to happen. Black screen on stream, how's that possible? Wow. Okay. I don't know what's going on. My phone and everything is showing a screen and fine. So paint it black. It sounds, can't show that, folks. Here, I'll go with the embassy here. There we go. Maybe this will unaggravate the powers that be. So is it still just black? I'm literally, it's been black out for a while. Okay. Obviously, you're getting the idea of what we are dealing with here. I don't know what to tell you. All I can do is start over and stop. This is a new one on me. There we go. We back? All right. Good. Audio good. Okay. Are we good? All right. Keep going. All right. 5x5. All right. Cool. Note to self. YouTube has new tactics. So, all right. Yeah. So anyway, we're waiting bated breath for all this to go down and what's going to happen. And, personally, there's another thing that's out there that they're going to wait until August 8th, and then they're going to possibly do something on August 9th. There's some specific date called Av or something like that. I forget the name of it, but it is a specific and important date. We don't know when or where. Now, there have been people saying that Iran is going to try and clean house first because they have to figure out what is going on with this hit on Haniyeh. Somehow they were infiltrated, and they don't really know why. The Ayatollah is supposedly kind of paranoid right now, and he doesn't really trust anyone. So they're kind of going and cleaning house. I really think that that's going to affect things. Plus, everybody is expecting them to go and make a strike right now in the next, 48 hours. And so them waiting, into which, of course, they're like, we will wait to do it at our time of choosing, that kind of thing. Yeah, of course, you guys can choose whatever you want to do, whenever, however. But something's going to happen in the next week or so. Now, the best case scenario would be something like happened in April. They chuck a bunch of rockets, drones, and crap, and they telegraph it through diplomatic back channels that this is about to happen on this time and date and yada, 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 and here you go, take them out. And it happens. Worst case scenario is that there is a multi-tiered, front strike. And also, there are numerous countries that are actually aiding and helping Iran. That is a big thing. One really, I think it was Amir Sarfati said, Iran is not going to do anything until they get some form of backup from another country. Okay? So they're kind of saying, they're going to wait for other countries like Egypt, Turkey, Lebanon, of course, is in the fold, but they're not strong. Hezbollah is strong. Hezbollah is about 10 times stronger than Hamas by analysis. So they're not going to do anything until they get some backing. Now, I don't know about that. They have to show some form of strength. They have to say, we're going to do something. The militants are really pissed off. Israel has also talked about doing a preemptive strike. There's been talk of a ground invasion, which, the Iranian or the Israeli broadcasting system came and said, this is not a great plan that's going down. They should rethink this thing. So we're going to see about all that. But yeah, there's supposedly plans for a preemptive strike. And earlier today, there was a meteor that happened in western Iran, and people thought that it was actually going down at that time. But it did not. It was just space debris, essentially, whatever that may be. And it didn't go down. So now we're kind of in this holding pattern again. And we are waiting. And all of the embassies are telling all of their people to leave. Of course, here, the United States Embassy has implored Americans to leave Lebanon on any ticket available. And Canada, basically every Western country has said it. Many Middle Eastern countries have said it. They have said, GTFO, you guys got to get out. Bad things are about to occur. And at this point, America said, if you don't have some kind of secured flight out of Lebanon or in the area, especially in North, Israel, southern Lebanon, the Hariri airport, whatever it is, then America is going to charge you. You're going to be hit with an exorbitant extraction fee, whatever that may be. And we can't even promise to where we're going to take you. If you have animals like a dog, we're not going to take them with us. You're basically leaving everything behind. And from there, whatever happens. So people are probably, trying to take off. I've heard that Ben Gurion Airport is effectively, abandoned at this point because they're worried about strikes going on there. And people are basically, they've already left if they can, and there's no flights going in. A lot of these airports have said, we're not going to fly to this area. So I can't tell you if this thing is going to be a for show kind of exchange or if it's going to go down as the real deal Holyfield. I can tell you that many countries in the Middle East are very unhappy with Israel, and we're getting to the point, if it doesn't happen this time, you could see some form of a multi-coalition. And then also take into consideration, there's other crap going on all over the world where a lot of our attentions are diverted. There's a bunch of crap going on in the United Kingdom right now due to the murder of 3 little girls from a new neighbor there. In Southport, there is a lot of crap going on in Venezuela because of the election that just happened. Japan and Philippines are doing maneuvers because they're worried about China, who's staring down Taiwan. Russia is really advancing. There's actually another article here on Zero Hedge saying that, and I've been covering it, I get the M.Ed of Russia, and they have little reports and stuff, and I get them and I put them out there, and they're showing that there are advances that are happening in eastern Ukraine, and that the Western forces are saying, you guys have to go and talk to, you got to work this out. You got to get out of this. You're not going to win. And then you tack on the fact that there is an election coming up on November 5th. If there is an election on November 5th, that means America is going to act in a very different way than they would if there wasn't an election within a couple years. So you've got all that going on. There's a lot of intense pressure on the administration. Evidently, Bibi and Biden had a conversation, and it didn't go real hot. And Joe said, basically, this is it. We're helping you on this one. And after that, if this crap keeps going, we're not going to be there. Now, can you imagine if Israel is on its own? And, of course, for those that are believers, this would play into what is supposed to happen. But let's just play, agnostic right here. What can you imagine what would happen if Israel did not have America to rely on, if they didn't get the the airfields to use from Saudi Arabia and Qatar and all that? I mean, it would be really problematic for them, and it would be, Samson option time. For those that don't know what the Samson option is the Samson option is basically Israel knows they're about to die and go down, they're not going to be here anymore, and they nuke everything in sight. Now, I don't think anything like that's going to happen. I'm not going to put some nuclear mushroom cloud on my thumbnail and say Samson option is about to happen or any crap like that. I personally think that we're going to be able to go probably one more. I think one more of these, they're going to figure out some way to make it so they have a show of force, but everything de-escalates, because everybody knows that there is going to be a regional war if this keeps going in the direction that it's going, okay? So what happens there? Well, I think what will happen is they'll find some way, a third way to kind of get out of this one right here, but the next one, which will happen, because Israel is not going to stop. Israel knows that you possibly have a Harris regime coming in, and they are not sympathetic to Israel by any stretch of the imagination, because they're going to play to their base, which are pro-Palestinian. And sometime right before the election in November, I can see the another set of strikes. I mean, what Israel did the other day was really ballsy. Going in and taking out Shakur and then taking out Haniyeh, that was a major ballsy move that they did. Doing succession, I mean, both were within 10 hours of each other. And one was in Tehran, the capital of Iran. I mean, that's gutsy. Well, another one of those I think is going to happen in some way, because this thing is going to keep pushing on. Israel is not getting the results that it needs. This is slow. There are numerous tunnels and, rabbit holes and rat holes and other things for Hezbollah and Hamas. I mean, we know there's a network in Gaza. Well, there's also a network up in the north. And for those that know, the Hezbollah fighters are much more stronger than Hamas. So it's going to get nasty. And if Israel starts to show any kind of backtracking or it's on its back heels or anything like that, well then what is going to happen is going to be pretty nasty. They could lash out in ways that we don't like and that nobody wants or is going to happen. So my big concern of what's going to happen over here is that this does become a regional war. And then the question is, what do things look like in a regional war? I mean, you come over to the old daily job cuts, and I mean, it's Kroger and Albertson. They're losing, they're going to cut 600 stores. You've got Mod Pizza, save for now, but it's going to be gone. All these other things, the jolts from the other day, which is the relocation thing, the job, basically a jolt. This is a graph where they find the job you transfer graph. If you have the ability to transfer jobs, then you are showing economic freedom. Things are good in the economy, that kind of thing. Well, the report that just came out was terrible. We of course got the 114,000 job thing. The unemployment rate is now up from where it was, highest in about a year. So problems are going on, right? Well, you can't see this right now, but I think we're going to see a housing crash here pretty soon. $1 million starter home is the norm in over 200 cities, including some in Washington. Now, I'm a former resident of Seattle. I can assure you that there is definitely $1 million starter homes in Washington State. 237 cities. That's up from 84 pre-Rona. All right, that's a starter home for $1 million. Think about that. Why is that? That's because they're playing with our money. And people are getting priced out. I mean, the average age of a person getting into a home at this point is 40 years old. I've been talking to my parents about, moving here because they want to sell their house, cash out and basically come and live with us because they're in their 80s and they're going to need our help. So we're plotting out a granny pod because, that's all they're going to be able to really afford. They're not going to be able to buy another $1 million starter home in their 80s. They're going to build on our land. So I think we're getting to a point where our economy is about to get crushed. And if things happen in the Middle East, like I think they're going to, I think you're going to see major stuff. I think the administration is going to do everything it can to hold on until November 6th. But, it's the housing crisis is coming. My mother-in-law is trying to sell her house right now, and it's not going so well. And she doesn't have $1 million starter home. She actually, is much less than that with, some acres. So now people, what are they doing? They're going in there, they're getting into mini homes, Kids can't go out and buy the kind of homes they used to have. They just can't. So what are they doing? Well, they are getting into, 750 to 1,000 square foot homes crammed together on these postage stamp lots. And they're selling for $200,000. Now, there was a time 5 years ago when the average home price was $240,000 to, $250,000. And you got 2,000 square feet. Now you're getting half of that for twice as much. People aren't able to do it. So it's basically going European. All the crappy crap that happens over in Europe is starting to come and make its way to America. Price difference between housing in England and the United States. Brick or stone construction is less costly than Americans, predominantly wood-based home building. More densely populated European areas push up land prices while the U.S. boasts vast rural. Regulations, of course, in both places, restrictions, other stuff. It's hard to own a house anywhere, whether you are in America or in Britain, okay? So economic slippage is happening. Home prices are going up. Buyers' ability are going down. Rates are going up. Debt just crossed $35 trillion. Imagine what happens if there is a Middle Eastern war. What's going to happen there? And we know this is coming. You know how we know? Because we got smart people like Warren Buffett that are calling the top. Who's Warren Buffett? Well, he's the guy that makes money when recessions and nasty global financial crises happen because he has a little bit of a know on the stuff. So he is called the top. He just liquidated not all, but a lot of his Apple shares. Now, what does that mean? Apple is a blue chip stock, as they say. This is a really big, good stock that if you own it, it makes you money. It keeps going up. It is a wealth preservation. He just sold a crap load of it. I think he sold half of his shares, and we're talking billions of dollars. So he's now got $277 billion to play with compared to $88 billion because he's not stupid. He sees a crash coming. And it is coming. Anybody with two eyes to see and a wallet to buy loaves of bread knows that this is coming. So Berkshire sold a net $75.5 billion worth of stock, the bulk of which now we know was from Buffett's liquidation of Apple shares. So what did he do? He sold a crapload of Apple to take cash and to put it on the sides. Why is that? Because he's not stupid, and he knows with all the geopolitical stuff going on, major things are about to happen, and it's going to kick everybody in the nuts. I cannot implore you more than right now by saying if you are not prepping food, if you are not getting items, paying off your debt, owning your car, having a nice place that is affordable, that is not more than a quarter of what you intake from your job. You shouldn't be paying your living anything more than 25%. So if you make $2,000, it shouldn't be over the $500. And I know that's probably laughable to most of you, the way that things are going. What is your rent right now? What is your mortgage right now? We got in at a sweet deal, and ours is mid $2,500. It's about $2,500 a month, and we got in at a lower rate. Most people now, the rent is it's too damn high, as one guy said. But I mean, you're talking 1,200 square foot homes for being rented in quasi-okay neighborhoods for $900 to $1,100, $1,200 a month. I mean, 237 cities, you have to get $1 million starter home. But the thing is that people are not getting the wages that they used to get. They're not making the money that they used to get. They are not doing any of that. What do I need, bud? Yes, go. So, Buffett's not stupid. He sees it. So his top holdings are Bank of America, American Express, Coke, and Chevron. Bank of America, that's financial. They got their nuts kicked in on Friday. American Express, same deal. Coca-Cola, it's an American, it's a global icon, These are just places basically to park his money because he knows that these places aren't going to go down too much. Bank of America got the crap kicked out of it in 2008. It really is in a place where it can hold steady. He's holding his money. He's holding his money in a way where when everything starts to crap the bed and everybody's freaking out, the last time he did this stuff, guys, was like around the global financial crisis. Not specifically in a complete and parallel and rhyme, but it was definitely financial issues. So, anyway, folks, we are going to cut it off on that one. I've got a puppy going wild in the other room. God bless you all. Thank you so much for being here. 30 minutes is about what I wanted to do, and I appreciate you. Please hit the like button and subscribe. Tell me what you think. Do you think the financial house is going to come down before or after the election in November? Do you think there's going to be a major response between Iran and Israel? Who's going to strike first? Because I honestly, folks, I don't know. I don't know who's going to go where or what, but I can tell you right now, the way things are going, you need to be cognizant of your finances. You need to be paying off debt. And you need to be doing things that are going to help you weather the storm, because it's coming. Storm is coming. And, yeah, I'll probably have a black screen because heaven forbid you show the times of Israel. Anyway, thanks for those for warning me, folks. We're going to get it on this one. I appreciate you. Hit the like button, subscribe, and all that, and we'll see you on the next one. PrepperNow out.